Okay, so to get started, you're going to want to start with your cleaned off brow. Nothing should be on it. Next, you're going to want to grab a spoolie, whichever one you want. This one here that I have is from Ardell. I believe it came with like the little pomade for the brows. So I already had that. So just grabbing any kind of spoolie and wetting it. Water is what I've been using. Water is just fine. So I wet it with a little bit of water. Now you want it damp. You don't want it completely soaked, just so that you're not like running water down your face, you know? The next thing you're gonna want to do is grab your soap. Here I'm using a white one. I've seen people use a lot of different colors of soap. I have white, so I decided to do it. And since I've been doing it, it doesn't seem to really make a difference in the color of my brow. I don't know, some people mention that the white is gonna give you like that white residue. And I do agree, you kind of can see it at first. But then once I start filling in the brow, I can't see it anymore. So that's why I continue to use my white soap and it's perfectly fine. So just taking the spoolie and running it back and forth along the soap just to get some of the soap onto the spoolie. You obviously don't want too much. You don't need that much. You just want a little bit, and then you're going to start running the spoolie through your brows in the direction that you want your hairs to go. So if I have lately been wanting my hairs to go up because I find that it makes a difference with them looking fuller, my brows looking fuller when I have my brow hairs going up as opposed to just following the direction that they naturally grow in. Because when I follow the direction that they naturally grow in, the hairs just kind of stick closer together, and so my brows don't look as full. They still look pretty thinned out. So that is what I've been doing. And before I was using the soap, which has only been like for the last week or so, I was using brow gel and I was running my hairs up after I would fill in my brow. But if you're doing the bar of soap technique, you're gonna wanna start by shaping them or kind of leading them in the direction that you want them to go in before actually going in and filling them in. Okay. So after you get your brow hairs in the direction that you want them to go in, which for me, like I said, I want them thicker, I want them fuller, so I'm going up. Then you're going to want to make sure that your brow isn't wet, which mine isn't at the moment, and that is when you start shaping it. So I tried to level it out with this one, so I kind of use whichever one I do first, I use as a guide. So I did this one first, and that's why I'll use this as a guide as far as where to start. That way this one's not too high and then this one's low, or you know, the other way around. That way they're kind of leveled out and look even. So I start at the front and just work my way to the back. And I'm going in the same direction as my brow hairs. And what I find that the soap does, it makes the hairs tacky and a little bit, well, I guess not tacky, it makes them waxy so that they're easier to move around and kind of maneuver and fluff up. Kind of like a Christmas tree. Because you know how you fluff up the branches of an artificial Christmas tree in order for them to look fuller? I feel like that's the same with this technique. Like that's what you're doing. You're fluffing your brows up, your brow hairs up, so that it all looks nice and full. And then you just fill in the gaps with brow pencil. I like to keep the bottoms pretty flattened out. Like I don't like too much of an arch back here, too much of an arch right here. I just like to kind of keep everything nice and leveled out. And then I give myself just the one arch back here and finish it off. And then I work my way up. But I'm always using upward strokes so that way the hairs stay in place the way that I want them. Okay, and that's it. So I'll zoom you guys in so that you can see exactly what they look like and what a difference this actually made. So as you can see, like I filled in the bottom portion, but since the hairs are on their way up, it just kind of fills in anything that needs to be filled in on the top. So like my brow hairs do that work, and then the pencil just kind of helps out with making them look darker and appear even more full. I don't know. I like this technique. What do you guys think? All right, and that completes it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that if you hadn't heard of the technique that now you know, and that you give it a try, because it obviously, to me, it made a big difference in the way that my brows look, especially after I fill them in. I just love how full and how natural they look. So hopefully it helped you guys out. Hopefully you learned a little something. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah. Bye.